Hello and welcome to episode 203 of Navigating Now. I'm Molly Sutherland. I'm your host today, and I'm a senior designer here at Thoughtium. Often I'm on the back end of this platform, setting up the graphics and getting our guests ready. But I'm excited to be on the front end and hosting today for a special conversation. So today I'm really excited to talk about the business case for giving with Alex Sutherland. He is the president of LifePlan Group. And my more favorite title, he is also my brother. So really excited for this conversation of the Sutherlands here in a moment. Let's bring Alex on.
Hey, Molly.
Hi, Alex. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Love to hear it. We always love to ask, what's one word for how you're coming into this conversation?
I'm excited. I mean, it's not every day we get to talk about this, and I get to talk to my sister, so I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I love that. I know the combo of sibling and business is always really fun. And
Yeah, there we
we
go.
got on that. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the business case for giving. But before we get there, would love to know, just so our viewers can get to know you. Tell us a little bit about your professional journey and what you're up to now.
So I started my professional career as a high school math teacher. I've always loved numbers, and I did that through an organization called Teach for America. And so what was unique and special about that is I learned how to be a teacher, but also learned about the community. And I know we're going to talk about that a little bit in the area in which I taught. Learned how important that is, not just from the students, but the parents and the key stakeholders that live there. And then I was a high school math coach for a little bit through that organization. And then finally joined our father now in this industry, the financial industry, where I serve as a financial advisor and specifically to individuals who are either retired or within 10 years of retirement, helping them with their finances and making good choices around those decisions. So still in the domain of math all along my career.
Yeah, yeah. I love that you bring up community and Teach for America brought you to North Carolina, where we both live now, and our whole family does. We did kind of a slow move all from the Midwest to North Carolina, and that's definitely going to be a piece of our conversation today. I know community means a lot of different things, and is really important to, I think, us personally and having our family in the community, but also how we show up in business, which is really exciting. And so would love to hear from you, like, what does community look like at LifePlan, both kind of within your client base and maybe what that looks like within the larger area of North Carolina that you serve in?
Well, at our firm, it's always been really important to understand our values, our culture, the people we work with, and the people we serve and the communities they live in. And so for us, it's really important that we are able to continue to give back. And that comes through in lots of different ways. Sometimes we immediately think of either financial gifts, which are important, but also awareness can be really important. Maybe introducing different organizations to our clients. And so sometimes I think being an important part in the community, you play a little bit of a matchmaker type role, making sure that our clients or people who interact with us know about certain organizations, because I'm connecting those dots can be really powerful. So ultimately, we want to make sure that we are playing the role of bringing awareness, because I think that is really important. But then also, how do you provide that value and support, which can show up in so many different ways?
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I know it's one of the main values of LifePlan Group, and of Thought Team as well. We have a partnership with Digs with Dignity, and it has been really cool to see not only the how can you make a financial contribution, but how are you also showing up and volunteering? How are we, our co-founder Anthony sits on the board. We're providing operations support occasionally. And so there's a really cool way to actually do some of that matchmaking of not just the financial, but also how are we showing up and supporting in other ways. And I know you guys do that as well. What does it look like to kind of show up and support outside of just a financial support?
Well, that's grown throughout the years. So we started something called our Give and Grows, which we love doing, and we do that on a quarterly basis. And what that is our team, our employees, our staff, we go out and volunteer, but we also invite our clients to come with us. And so by doing it, we can block a morning or part of a day and go to an organization and really learn about what the organization does and provide some support. And so by doing our Give and Grows, we're getting a chance to, of course, build those relationships with our clients, which is always a wonderful thing to do. And we love doing that. But then together, us as a team, LifePlan, and our clients, we can go out and we can support an organization. So that's one way we're doing that. And another way that we do throughout the year is we highlight a particular organization, similar to what you just shared that you guys do. And by doing that, we give some financial gifts that we're really proud to do, but we also give back as our firm continues to grow. So one of the things that we've worked hard at doing is, in essence, saying, hey, as our firm has grown and got more successful, we want to give back more and more to the community. So being able to tie that success to charitable gifts or organizations you support is really meaningful for us because that's an important part of us, but also for our clients who are associated with us. And by blending and understanding those values, it's really exciting and fun to be a part of.
Yeah, that's incredible. What are some of like the examples of organizations y'all have partnered with? What does that look like? Some of the places you've supported in the community?
They've been across the board. We like to support a variety of different organizations from music or arts or clothing or food. One of my favorite ones was Kid Notes, where they provide musical lessons to at-risk or low-income kids who couldn't otherwise afford it. And so one of our partnerships was to donate the cost of a violin to children. And by having that music really young in their lives, it can really be powerful. And I know that personally because, I play the trumpet, and music has been like a big part of me growing up and learning. And so to be able to find those organizations that are impactful to us, either individually or to some of our clients, is really powerful. We've done some court advocacy work. We're working on our 2025 one as well. And so it's fun to hear from our clients about potential organizations because there's a lot of really great ones, and we might not even be aware of them, and then work with a partnership for them throughout the year.
Yeah. I have to imagine that's so cool to be able to also kind of match some of those like personal passions with the work that you're able to do. Like I think at face value, you might not think like in financial planning, you can have a tie to that kind of musical background that you have, but you're finding a way to actually have a tie and like bring that to life and probably share that side of yourself with clients that also creates a more personal relationship because you're kind of in the work in a different way together when you're in that
Yeah.
environment.
And it's like it makes, from a business sense, like becoming more human, right? I mean, we all have those different connections, and to be able to articulate that and share that with our clients, and for them to hear it and for us to listen to, is really powerful and meaningful. I mean, it can also give additional maybe fulfillment and value to our work. Sometimes work can almost lose its identity from time to time. But when you make that connection to things that are very important to you, whether it's through an organization or community or giving back, it can increase that zest, right? We know that when we're doing our best work, we are passionate. We love it. It gets us up in the morning and gets our drive going. And so having the connection to our communities, whether through organizations or whatever that might be, is a really powerful thing to help us have that intrinsic motivation that, like, hey, not only does the work we do matter to our clients, but it also matters in the communities and the nonprofits that we're supporting, which I find incredibly rewarding.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. I think that connection that you talked about, not only to like creating that personal connection, but I'd love to hear a little bit more of how you're actually tying that financial giving and increasing your giving to business outcomes. Like how did that get started? How did that come to be and what does that kind of look like?
We started that back in, if I remember right, it was maybe 2018, and we had the conversation saying, hey, we want to give back to our communities, and we also want to have a growing, successful business. Like, how do we connect those? How do we tie that together? And so we came up with our ambassadors program, which is an opportunity as our business grows through the connections of our clients. So in our industry, when we work with individuals and they share us with others, like many other businesses, that's very powerful and helpful. For our clients to say, hey, to a friend or family member, I want you to go meet LifePlan. I want you to go talk to my financial advisor. They're going out on a limb and they're saying, hey, I trust the person I work with and I want you to experience that too. And so as we've gotten more and more of those introductions, we found that that was perhaps the key way to connect it to our increased support for the charities. And so we tied the introductions that our clients make to the value and what we provide to the organizations. And what was a really interesting thing that we kind of came to the conclusion is it felt a lot more meaningful and more powerful when we connect it to an actual tangible thing that we can provide. So for instance, I mentioned the organization Kids Notes, which we supported. We provided the value of a violin for each introduction that we got. And so by connecting the growth, the more people share us, our firm grows, to an actual tangible item, it felt not only meaningful for us to be able to do that, but also for our clients that they are involved in this. And as our success grows, it's their success too, and the communities as well. And so each year when we think about that partnership, we think about not just like the financial number, which is important, but what that financial number represents, because then it becomes a more tangible story. Another organization we supported was called A Note in the Pocket. And we provided, and what they do is they provide clothes for children, school-aged children who might not be able to afford it otherwise. And one of their missions is that being clothed provides dignity, going into school. And so for every introduction, we provide a season worth of clothes for 2 children. And I think those types of things is when you make the connection between a monetary contribution to an actual tangible result. And I think that's where it was very helpful for me, for our team, and for our clients to see that, oh, wow, this is pretty cool to be able to give back more in a tangible way.
Yeah. I mean, I think to that point, we talk a lot about like the importance of stories and the connection to them is so much stronger when it's not, sure, it is a dollar figure, but it's also so much more. And so knowing what that actually looks like, I mean, even as you're describing that, like, I'm so much more excited to like try to get involved by, oh, I know exactly what that is. And I'm sure for your clients, like having that specificity and like that tangible element, they can then speak to it. They're probably more proud and excited to talk about it as well. And I think that ability to really be able to communicate the impact is so powerful in an example like that, for sure.
And Molly, it builds deeper relationships. Our firm, being an advisor, is a very personal and relationship driven industry. And so to have that commonality, to have those shared values with the clients and me and our team is so important. And at the end of the day, we want to spend our time and build and grow our relationships with those that we care about, and we want to learn more about them. And communicating in this way and doing these types of things can open you up in a way where it's easier and better to build those relationships and make those connections.
Yeah. Yeah. It reminds me a little bit, we've talked with some of our clients, this ability to tie like what is important to accomplish to some sort of business goal or outcome. We talk a lot about it with, with your strategy or even within learning and development. Like if an initiative is really important, how are you tying it back to a business objective or a business goal, business growth? Because that's always going to be part of the conversation, right? And those are going to be the metrics you're tracking. And so if you can tie some of those values and those things that are important to that, it's going to stay on the table. You're always going to have an eye on it. And I love that you guys have figured out a way to almost like systematize this thing that doesn't always feel like it's a consistent or systemed process. It seems like, okay, sometimes giving is just like end of the year, I want to make this donation or at this time. And the ability to really embed it into the
Yes.
way you do business says a lot, not only about the values you have, but also shows that you're living those out in a really powerful way.
I think that's a great point, and it takes a lot of effort on the marketing and communication standpoint, right? When we think about, we have this idea, and we then have to move to the execution phase, and we have to put ourselves in the shoes of a client. And I think one mistake is that you communicate something one time and you assume that it sticks, right? And so you have to your point, Molly, you have to develop, okay, what is the consistency? What is the routine? What is the communication? And so that it can be something, and I love the word embedded into kind of the fabric of who you are as a firm or as a business. And when that's done well, then it really starts to snowball, and you get that aha moment when clients can connect and really understand what the mission and the values are that you're projecting versus a one-off communication.
Yeah, 100%. I sometimes have to remind myself that as someone who's in graphic design and marketing, I should know that, but that power of like you can't just say it once for people to remember. But the more that you're able to, yeah, embed it into your culture, your communications, if people are seeing something like that in different ways, not only in the email newsletter, but in an event that they show up to and then an ask to volunteer, like that really becomes an association then,
Yeah.
more so than that just like single one-off ask or communication. Yeah.
And it took some trial and error, right? So that's going to be look different for every business or community or client base that you have of what that looks like. And for us, and Allison, who runs this on our team, and she does an amazing job. She figured this out and was very thoughtful on, okay, what's the right level of communication and how do we communicate it to the type of clients that we have? And so really that first step is, okay, listening to who are our clients, what do they value, who are we, what do we value, and finding that like connection between the two. And once she figured that out, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, and it's so much more exciting to do something that the people you're trying to serve want as well.
Yeah.
It's in a totally kind of different lane. I was for one of our clients sitting on a discovery session earlier this week, and we're working on some workplace signage for them, and it was like so energizing to sit in the room with them to know like what's inspiring you, like what gets you
Yeah.
excited, what do you want to see. And so I think the ability to actually like ask people those questions, one, you're going to get a better product because people are going to be invested, they're going to feel heard. But then you're also able to tailor something and your success rate is going to be way higher because you're actually speaking directly to what they asked for. And I think that ability to really like listen, do that trial and error and adapt is so crucial across the board on things you're trying to implement or embed into a company.
I love it. It makes it fun too. I mean,
Yeah.
like when you have that ability and you have that vision of saying, okay, what can this become? It makes those challenges and roadblocks and along the way, which are going to happen, it makes them more exciting to like overcome them because you're working for something even more meaningful. And so I think that's an awesome point.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So I'd love to know, you kind of said a little bit about this, but what is this really tie from connecting giving into your business objectives and goals? what impact has that had, like, on your team, on your clients, for your business? What have you kind of seen as the business case of giving?
Well, I think for us personally, we have seen a lot more introductions from our clients to their friends and family members. And so the more our clients have gotten to know who we are and what we value as a firm, we have seen our introductions, our referrals skyrocket. And what that tells me is it just reinforces the idea that the more our clients get to know who we are and understand that we have that shared value and we become have a deeper relationship and more human and we're people, then our clients feel more and more comfortable of saying, hey, you really need to go talk to LifePlan Group because the types of things that they're doing is fantastic. Here's the work that they do, and it really aligns with them. And we know that, I mean, think about the different businesses, you interact with or places you buy from. Like when we understand their values and like what they stand for, aren't we more likely to share that with someone else? Isn't that a more relatable and referable product or service or whatever that might be? And so we've really seen that taken off. And I think it's because of being able to interweave these ideas.
Yeah, yeah, I love that, and, that idea of sharing what you do and who you are and being able to connect it, I think is so powerful for small businesses when you need to do referrals, but we see the power of that in our large companies that we're working with,
Yeah.
the teams within those to be able to communicate and, collaborate across teams, like, being able to really speak to, "This is what we do, this is who we are, and these are the values we have," is such a powerful way to share what you do and just like start a conversation.
Yeah. And I have to admit, like, that can be a little bit scary at first, right? Like, I think sometimes our natural reaction is to be like, "Oh gosh, what if this doesn't work out?" Or to see find the fear, particularly when we make business decisions of, okay, would this lead to the worst case scenario? Or would but I think it takes a little bit of a leap of faith, a little bit of a courage to go out on a limb and say, okay, no, this is important to us as a firm. And so therefore it's got to be important to the people that we work with and the people that we serve too. And when that, I think, realization happened on our side, it became easier to kind of go all in on it.
Yeah, yeah. And then you're finding and working with the people that have that alignment in
Yes.
some world, and that, that makes that relationship even more fruitful, which is exciting.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Um, so would love to know, if a business or a team is kind of considering how to embed one of their values or cultivate a culture of giving, what are maybe one or two things you might tell them to consider or to start doing in order to start that process?
I think what helped for us is we started that process by asking our clients. And so one of the very first uh, uh, ideas we had of getting this off the ground is we asked our clients, what are the organizations you support?
Mm,
And I think it's really important to say, hey, we might not know that or have the answers. And so we wanted to listen to our clients and say, we really enjoy you, who you are, our clients. What's important to you? And then by hearing that and learning from them, we're like, oh, okay, maybe this is the path it can go. And so I think sometimes perhaps the mistake can be, let's just jump in on something because we might see it one way, or we might think this is the right charitable event or organization to give back or value to emphasize. What we found was helpful for us, at least, is to first say, hey, we like our clients, we love you. What is important to you? And by taking that step first, it actually made it a lot easier to implement.
yeah. I feel like it takes a little bit of the pressure off too, to be like, we have to have the right solution for everyone. And it's more of like, let's get the input to come to
Yeah.
that. I think is such a powerful way to go about it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and it involves our clients. Like, it's important that our clients feel a part of our firm, because they are the ones that make us so successful, and they're part of this, and so we want to make sure that they know that.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. The power of asking and being heard is
Yeah.
pretty powerful across the board. Amazing. Well, before we wrap up, I would love to do a quick little lightning round, if you're game for it.
All right.
All right. So these are just questions to no right or wrong, just whatever, comes to mind. So first, would love to know, what is one thing that you are reading, watching, or listening to?
Well, and you know this, I have 3 young kids at home, 7, 5, and 3. So outside of the professional world, my listening to, reading, watching really revolves around things like Daniel Tiger. So it's some form of Amazon Prime show that the kids just really get into, that kind of allows me to disconnect from the day to day.
I've been around when those shows are on. I've learned a thing or two from Daniel Tiger, so you're
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
soaking some things up in the background.
that's right.
That's great. So I want you to think about one strength of yours or something that you admire about yourself and complete the following phrase. If the world were more like me, if the world were more like Alex, it would be blank.
I think I feel like one of the successes we've had was the ability to have a high bar and vision of what's possible.
Mhm.
And so I think um, being able to see and hope and believe in what can be done has been a strength that I've had that has allowed our firm to grow. And so I hope, triggering a little bit of that in each of us makes the world a better place.
I love that. And the sister can vouch for it. Yes. The inspiration and vision that you can
There are
have.
downsides to that too, but we'll leave those off for now.
No, we'll leave it as the positives. Yeah, I
That's
think
right.
the hey, we can achieve this, or let's go after it. It can be really exciting. So
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, last question. What is something that happened recently that made you smile?
Mm. Uh, Last week I had a meeting with a potential new client, and we were doing some financial planning. And for the first time, they said, I think I understand how great retirement can be. And it was like one of those moments where it was like a little bit of a light bulb. Have you ever seen that?
Mhm.
And so it is so rewarding, and it made me smile when a client can really see how great this next phase of life can be for them. And when that happens with clients, I can't help but smile.
That's amazing. I love that. For especially what could be a daunting next step or unknown, to
Yeah,
be excited about it is pretty powerful.
absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining, Alex. It was a pleasure to talk business with you
Oh,
today.
as always, Molly, I'll call you later.
Okay, sounds great. Have a good one. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in again to episode 203 of Navigating Now. Especially to all of our viewers joining on LinkedIn and YouTube. We appreciate you tuning in. We are live every Thursday, so join us here